all the biggest pains I've gone through have been the biggest life-changing scenarios, and I've made the most change from them.
I had a lot of social anxiety growing up. That experience kind of gave me a kick up the arse to do something about it. It was like, this is not acceptable for my life.
I appreciate life a lot more when someone passes away from me.
Consciousness to me is being present and aware and able to choose how I'm acting in the moment.
Welcome to the Next Level podcast with me, Gareth Collins. Today, I have a very special guest that's pretty close to me, that I've known for quite a while. His name is David Bailey. David, can you introduce yourself and tell me a bit about what you do in general?
So my name's David and I'm a life coach and workshop facilitator. And my job involves organizing events, workshops, and different activities that are related to connecting people and personal development. At the moment, like that, I run about 3 to 4 workshops a week in Bangkok.
Yes.
And utilizing ice baths, breathwork, and I'm very fortunate to be working at an amazing space in Bangkok, which is something that I'd always dreamed of.
Really?
Yeah.
How long ago?
Well, when I moved to Bangkok, it really annoyed me that people often would kind of be, oh, Bangkok's not as good as the islands. And, oh, if you're interested in wellness and spirituality, you need to go to the islands, and just talk down about Bangkok. And this kind of annoyed me because actually I really love Bangkok. I think it's an amazing place. And I'm like, from the mindset of, well, why don't we just make things better, not just complain about them?
Yeah.
So there were certain things that I really missed, nature, something I missed a lot, like living in Bangkok. And ice baths is something that I've been doing for about 8 years. And at the time I started doing that in Bangkok, it wasn't popular. It wasn't like, now it's really popular, but like 2.5, 3 years ago, it wasn't really a thing. It was quite obscure. And I was talking to a friend of mine he owns a space where I've been doing workshops, and he mentioned that he had a private ice bath and sauna. And I was like, what? Like, because this was not normal. Like, most people don't have a private ice bath and sauna. So I said, like, can I do some events there? And he was like, yeah, sure. It was connected to a really nice cafe and restaurant. So we started doing events every Sunday. And I just wanted to share that with people, like give people an opportunity to come enjoy something that I really love doing in a healthy way. And just like I guess one of my dreams is to kind of create an alternative scene for people where they can come out, meet good people, do something challenging, and it not be based around like drink and drugs.
Yes.
I mean, if whatever people want to do is their own business, but I wanted to create something like alternative for people. That's like what the basis of a lot of my events, a lot of the workshops is like bringing people together, challenging them and helping them grow, and also connecting creating a community as well.
Certainly. The place that you're talking about, is that where you're at now? The Dip?
Yeah, so that's Dip.
Really?
Dip Onsen,
Oh, brilliant. It's the best. Let me think about it. Yes, it's the number one sauna I've been to.
Oh, thanks.
It is absolutely stunning. It's literally like being in a jungle.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
It's very impressive. I don't know what else. What it's missing really. It's just
the trees are amazing.
Yeah, it's absolutely spot
you feel like you're in this garden oasis. And now we've just got a fire pit.
Okay.
So like on a couple of the nights we have like at the end we do like a sauna soul connect workshop, and in the end we have a tea and we have like a fire for people to talk around, because that was something else I was like, you know what, like I really miss that when I go like camping, or you go on like to the islands and there's a fire, like just something very primal around that.
festival. I was at
Yeah,
Boomtown,
festivals.
and that
Oh,
was my
nice.
first like experience, like being around a campfire. That like
Yeah,
springs into mind now, and there's
nice.
just so much togetherness, and yeah, it was just a lot better than sitting in front of a TV. Or
Mate,
yeah,
yeah,
it's very touching.
yeah.
So how long have you been working there for?
Well, since the beginning, since it started, so it's less than a year old
Oh,
actually.
really?
But we were doing the ice baths for about a year or so prior to the opening of Dip.
Ah,
So that was kind of the inception of it.
yes.
So yeah, I was doing the ice baths before Dip was even built,
Yep, yep,
and
yep.
then um, yeah, it's been open, I don't know, 8 months or something.
So you're one of the founders.
Well, I'm yeah, I guess co-creating, helping. I'm not like financially a founder of the place, but yeah, it was
Yeah.
definitely an influencer in helping its inception.
Yes. Lovely. Great place. Do you want to tell the guests exactly where it is so they
Yeah,
can check
sure.
it out?
It's in Ari, which is just close to Victory Monument. You can get there on the BTS. It's about 5 minute walk from the BTS, and there's an amazing cafe there. Like I don't know if you've eaten it.
Yes,
Yeah, Yellow
yes.
Lane. The food is terrific. So yeah, if you're in Bangkok, check it out.
And that's
Like
Sukhumvit.
yeah, no, it's not actually
Oh, it's
Sukhumvit.
not?
It's the area is Payatai,
Ayatai.
and
Okay.
it's Ari BTS, which is the one. Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, so let's go way back to your childhood. Tell
Okay.
me
Wow.
about the
On the
young
couch.
version of David Bailey.
Yeah. So, what specifically are you interested in?
So like just your grown up, how was life like grown up?
Yeah. So I grew up in Southwest London, kind of working class backgrounds, and um, one brother. My dad actually, he was a prop man. He used to work at the BBC,
Okay.
and I very much like idolized him when I was growing up. He was away working a lot, so for a lot of the time, it was kind of challenging because he wasn't at home or he
Mm.
was away for long periods of time because of filming and stuff.
Mm.
Um, but that I think helped me like gain my interest in media because I saw what he was doing. He worked in TV, and from a young age, I was like interested in film and television. Um, and both my parents actually were like very athletic. They, were international sports people, and they were very, very athletic. But I was interested in fitness and health, but I wasn't so much interested in sport. I didn't really like football or anything, which, if from being English, that's not
Yes.
normal if you're a boy. But I love music. That I
Yes.
guess was my passion. Like when, from a very young age, I was very keen on music. Originally, like kind of music my parents listened to, which was more like 70s rock and soul music.
Yes.
And then the first kind of real music that like just blew my mind, it was acid house and hip hop.
Yes.
Like those two genres, just when I first heard them, I was like, what is this? Like, I mean, I'm talking about when I was about 8 years old, so very young.
Mm.
And just, yeah, really was a huge music fan, and kind of got into the club scene in the UK or in London, and was really into jungle, drum and bass,
Yes.
underground club music. And that for me, that was, I guess, as a teenager, like that was definitely a big part of my identity growing up.
So tell me, as we're talking about music, tell me about your DJing career.
Yeah, well, my DJing career at that age was just me playing around in my bedroom, so
Yeah.
it wasn't like that huge. But I had friends of mine that played on different pirate radio stations, and played out in different clubs and raves.
Mm.
And I had a massive record collection, but I was more interested in like making films and stuff. But I did DJ, and I was, really huge in like collecting records, drum and
Yes.
bass mainly.
Okay.
And yeah, the thing that I was really beyond just the music, that really drew me towards that kind of scene was that I saw people coming together from different backgrounds, and it wasn't like there like in the UK. I felt like there's kind of two different clubs. There's a kind that people go to get drunk and like pull girls or meet someone,
Ah,
and the other kind, which is people go because they love the music.
community
Yeah,
there.
and it's like I'm not saying there's anything wrong with pulling girls or drinking, but
Yep.
if that's just the only reason you're there, it tends to create, in my experience, a more aggressive vibe. Whereas if
Mm,
people come for the music, to share that, then it is just a more friendly atmosphere. And
totally.
that was something that I really loved, like people from different backgrounds coming together, like community, like you said,
Mm,
and it just being a place where, whatever's going on outside doesn't matter. Here everybody's equal, we can all get on, we can all be friends. And that was just something that really appealed to me.
totally.
And also just the way that people were really being very creative with the music. Like it wasn't just boring, like people were just trying to push and do something new all the time.
Mm,
And that, like, again, really appealed to me. Like, wow, people are being, you know people also from backgrounds that like similar to mine, or just that weren't necessarily professional musicians, but just were like, let's give it a go, and just creating some amazing music. That again appealed to me because it's like, yeah, just the human spirit of creativity and ingenuity.
pushing the envelope.
Yeah.
What DJs were your favorites
Oh
in the
man.
drum and bass and jungle?
Yeah. So probably my favorite DJ, definitely for drum and bass, is Loxy.
Okay.
Yeah, he is on Renegade Hardware, Metalheads.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and he's just someone that I really love because he's definitely very uncompromising.
Okay.
Plays very deep music that you could listen to at home or like in a club, and is like creative, like not just because you can play like dark music, but it can be boring. But his music's definitely always like looking at people that are pushing the envelope
Yeah.
and just being creative and very cinematic as
Okay.
well.
It's not springing to. It might be before my era.
He's still now. He's
Oh,
still
really?
around. Yeah, he's still
Okay.
around.
Uh,
Loxy is still around. Doc Scott is
Oh,
another
Doctor
one.
OC.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's another one that I'm a big fan of.
DJ Hype.
DJ Hype's, yeah, yeah,
DJ
he's good.
Hype.
Ed Rush and Optical back in the day, they were like, I was a huge fan of them.
Yeah.
Um,
General Levy.
General
General
Levy,
Levy,
yeah.
original nutter. Like how, going back to what you just said earlier
Oh
on
yeah, Shy FX.
about that moment where the music has just grabbed you.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean? I remember my uncle Freddie's not here right now, but he played original nutter, and I remember it was like it was yesterday,
yeah,
and it was just really really touched me, man. And like,
yeah,
yeah, we have so much fun about it, and like, yeah, just getting hype and that. And I was
yeah.
about
That's the
8,
tune,
and
man.
that
That
just stuck with me until
yeah,
now
yeah,
still. So yeah.
yeah. There's that music, especially like at the time, was so new. Um,
Mm,
I remember like the first jungle club I went to. It was like an under 18s rave,
yeah.
and I'd heard jungle. My friends were playing it, and I'd heard it at school when people were DJing it, but I was still not 100% convinced. And then I
Mm,
went to it was like this like under 18s party that I don't know if you ever went to one of them, but
yeah, I did, yeah.
went to one, and it suddenly all made sense because it was much louder,
Yeah.
and people like were dancing, and I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like this makes sense on a big sound system.
Mm,
It makes sense now, and it sounds obviously a lot better louder than it
yeah.
does on a small speaker. And that, yeah, I was like, yeah, I like this because it's something like interesting. It's not like pop music at the time was boring for me. I was like
Rebellious.
repetitive. I know I can tell what's going to happen, but with
Yes.
this kind of music, I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
This is new. People are doing interesting stuff, and I'm
Mm,
in.
away from the norm.
Exactly, yeah.
Beautiful. So, what was some of the challenging moments of like your upbringing?
Mm. Well, for me, actually, like I had a lot of social anxiety growing
Mm.
up. Um, I think that was probably due to getting bullied at school.
Okay.
Uh, I don't know 100%, but my guess is it was probably to do with that.
Yeah.
Like when I was at school, I was bullied by my teacher,
Oh,
the
really?
first teacher I had, and that definitely had a big impact on me in a negative sense.
Yeah. Dive a little bit more into that, if you don't mind.
Yeah, so I was at it was a local school. It was a Church of England school, supposed to be a good school,
Yep.
and my first teacher was an elderly lady who was just the most cantankerous, like mean old woman you could like
Great word.
not hope to meet. And she just, for whatever reason, took a disliking to me. And I remember her like, we would have, for example, a test, and you'd have to read the results. And I remember her like making me stand up, and I don't know, got something wrong. And she'd be like, "You're stupid.
Oh.
What's wrong with you?" Like, just like humiliating me in front of the class.
Yep.
Um, and not just, this is over a year, because like back in those days, I remember I hated school so much. I'd hide in the toilets,
Mm.
like to avoid going to lessons. And I, when I was only 5, like I remember I hid in the alley behind my house. I wanted to run away. I only got as far as the alley,
Okay.
but I was kind of like, because I just hated school so
Yeah.
much. And my parents, you know, I remember them waking up, like panicking, thought I'd gone, they found me. And then I think that, like, because I'd kind of said a bit about like I didn't like school, but I think
Mm.
they just was like, oh, this is just kids, they don't like school. But when that happened, when I like hid and tried to run away, I think they realized, oh, something's up.
Yep.
And so they went in, like complained to the school like about this teacher. And unfortunately the school weren't at all supportive. They tried to like, oh no, you know
Mm.
switch the ball, didn't want to know anything about it. And yeah, what it was kind of crazy, because years later, I mean, I fortunately I got moved out of that school about a year later, because
Yeah.
my parents were like, it's not a good place.
Yep.
And I bumped into years later I bumped into an old classmate at the gym, and she was talking to me about this place, and she was actually now a teacher. And at the school, like my best friend at the time, he was dyslexic,
Mm.
and he also would get bullied. And they
Mm.
actually told his parents to like leave the school, because they were like, we don't deal with children like you.
Oh, okay.
Basically, because he had dyslexia, they were saying, oh, like he's stupid, he shouldn't
Yeah.
be here. And anyway, this old classmate had also been bullied, and she said, "Oh, this woman, she definitely would, but she wouldn't have been a teacher if it was now."
Mm.
And actually, she was an alcoholic.
Oh,
I didn't
okay.
realize that at the time, and it did, that actually had a big impact on me, because I still had a lot of anger directed towards this woman, because I
Yes.
never got to speak to her really as an adult. And then when I found out she was an alcoholic, I could see things more from an adult point of view. And I
Mm.
realized like she must have been in a lot of pain
Mm.
and suffering, because you don't drink at 9 a.m. You don't shout at 5-year-olds. A happy person doesn't do that.
No.
And I don't know what her circumstances were, but not to excuse the behavior, but I realized it wasn't really personal. It was nothing to do with me. It was
Mm.
just this woman's in pain. She's
Yes.
an alcoholic. I don't know what was going on in her life, but she was just like projecting it. And I was unfortunately just there in front of the class at the time. But that actually was quite cathartic, because I realized it's not really about me. It's not the whole story about, oh, what happened to me, and I was bullied. And I was like, well, yeah, that did happen, but it was not really personal. It was
Mm.
just someone else was struggling, and they didn't know how to deal with it, and they just took it out on the people around them, which was children at the time.
Yeah.
Something not acceptable. But I realized, this isn't personal and I
Mm.
don't need to like hang on to this.
When did you get that feeling to like sort of like let it go, sort of thing?
Actually, that was like a big moment when I met this friend of mine at the gym,
Oh.
because it was just like, like, because, you know, I was always, not all the time, but in the back of my head, like, why did she do this to me?
Mm.
Why me, not someone else?
Mm.
Kind of a victim mindset.
Yeah.
And then when I found this information out, I was like, oh, okay, it was really nothing to do with me. It was just totally arbitrary. It was
Yeah.
impersonal, even though what she was saying was very personal. It wasn't anything personal about me that was causing this issue.
Mm. I'm with you. Is there any other challenging moments of your childhood that you would like to share?
So, you know, I think that was the social anxiety was the thing that or a big thing for me, because uh, I would I'd be really good with people that I knew,
Mm.
and actually I would go out a lot, partying. I
Yeah,
was
yeah,
like
yeah.
really into party, but what I realized is that I was great at like in loud club environments, because we didn't really have to talk to anyone
Okay.
because it's too loud.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like, it was more intimate situations
Yeah.
that I found much more intimidating.
Yeah.
So it was kind of interesting, because a lot of people who know me from back then were kind of shocked to hear that, because
Mm.
you know, I would go to environments that people might be intimidated by, like big raves or big
Mm.
clubs, that I know some people might find intimidating, and I didn't. And I could be quite loud and gregarious in that environment. But if it was like a small, like gathering around someone's house, that would be
Struggle.
much more intimidating for me.
What was the turning point, the epiphany moment when you started being comfortable with talking to people?
So it wasn't like one thing,
Yeah.
but in this was a bit older, when I was in my, so I'd say I was in my 20s, early 20s, and I remember that like there was a girl that I liked, that I'd been dating for a short space of time, like that I was at my work. And to be honest, it was kind of like I was a rebound. She'd just broken up with someone, and she dumped me to go back with her like lousy ex-boyfriend
Yeah.
who was a bit of an arsehole.
Mm.
And you know, that just hurt, like it really hurt.
Mm.
And it had a profound effect, because I was just like, what is wrong? Like, this guy's an arsehole. I know I'm better than that. Like,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
know I'm better than that. And but like I'm doing something wrong here, because
Mm.
like I'm just like not able to feel confident in these kind of environments, especially talking to women. I was very shy,
Mm.
and like I can do better than this. I don't want to feel intimidated in these kind of environments. And also I would just want to have the confidence to just be able to talk to who I want to talk. Because
Certainly.
my dad was actually or rather is actually very like social guy.
Yeah.
And one thing that always impressed me when I was younger, like he would just, you know, we'd go anywhere and he'd just be chatting away to people, very comfortable, and you know, people would feel good around him. Whereas I'd be a bit more like shy and
Mm.
introverted, and I always wanted to be like that.
Yeah.
And that experience kind of gave me a kick up the ass to like do something about it, because
Yeah.
I was like, this is not acceptable for my life. Like, I
Mm.
want better than this, and I don't want to feel like this
No.
again. Like, so that actually, even though it was a real, you know, painful experience, it that kind of got me interested in personal development, because that was
Mm.
like the first time I looked into hypnotherapy, I looked into coaching.
Ah. Yes.
I actually took action to like learn something that could help me improve, because up until
Mm.
that point I just kind of thought, oh, you either, you know, this is who I am. I'm like born like this.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
can't really do anything about it. That was just my belief at the time. And then
Yes.
that frustration of like this cannot, like, this ain't good
Yeah.
enough. I want something better. And then I started searching and I was like, oh, like, so people say you can improve, you can learn. And that was all news to me. I honestly never thought that was
Why?
possible.
Why didn't your parents
Yeah.
say something to you
Yeah.
regarding that? Because I'm in the same boat. I was in the same boat as well. I've had to go through the pain and
Mm.
the trauma
Yeah.
of like not feeling good enough and not being the person that I want to be. So like, why don't you feel that your parents like give you a nudge and said like, David, you do know you can look into self-development and like
Yeah.
you are a bit very shy, David. How about you taking some like so classes or
Yeah.
here's a book?
Yeah. I think it was just outside of their reality too. You know,
Yes.
their background it wasn't like personal development.
Mm,
If you, for example, like, I know this, because my parents has told me that, like, if you had to see a psychologist according to, like, from their kind of background, then that meant you were mental, you were definitely crazy, and it was not normal.
yeah,
Now
yeah,
they
yeah, yeah.
didn't like necessarily uh believe that. They would say, oh well, I don't think that, but like, definitely, like, getting help, um psychology, personal development was outside of their reality.
Yes.
And you know, it was they're an older generation, and there was
Mm,
just from working class background, like seeing a psychologist or like going to a personal development
yeah,
thing
yeah.
was not like on their radar at all.
Just unaware.
Yeah, they weren't aware of it. And you know, there was something that, I mean, my dad openly says, like, he found asking for help very, very tough. You know, he's
Mm,
kind of quite a manly man, and so, like, having to say, oh, actually I'm struggling here,
yes.
I know something that he struggled with
Yeah.
himself. So yeah, it was, even though he may not have said that directly, that was kind of what I just got from the environment.
Yep. Why do you think that is? What's the root of that? What's the root of someone struggling, wanting help, feel like they
Mm.
need help, but there's something in them that just can't.
Yeah, I mean, it's something I've also, like, I remember when I first, like, went to a first, like, hypnotherapist. It was, man, I was stressed as hell. Like, it was like, should I do that? Like, I was thinking about it for months,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
looking it up, and it was very, you know, it was a massive yeah, it was a kind of a blow to the ego, because it was
Totally.
like,
That's the thing.
oh,
That's
actually, I can't handle this, and I don't know what I'm doing,
yes.
and um, and also I don't know what's on the other side of this, like,
Yeah.
because maybe they're gonna get me to do some stuff that I'm, like, really not comfortable with,
Yeah. And that's the thing,
and that,
switching the mindset
yeah, so
to
it was very frightening, and especially, like, you know, I like to pretend, not pretend, yeah, I guess pretend, like, oh, I know what I'm doing, I've got it all
yeah, yeah, yeah,
handled.
yeah.
And so yeah, just, it was really, yeah, massive, like, blow to the ego
Yes.
to just have to admit, actually, I don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm scared because you're probably going to get me to do some stuff that it's like way out my
It's a bit
comfort
of
zone.
like lack of being honest with where you're at.
Yeah.
Really, sort of like a fat person, like not having the motivation to go to the gym
Mm.
and knowing that they can reach out for help, but just something in them is just stopping them from doing it.
Yeah, it's like to admit that it's true that you're not actually where you want to be, and
Mm,
you don't have it all handled, is difficult for the ego. It's really difficult, and especially in the context of dating and romance, especially for, like, in the culture that like we grew up in. As men, you're supposed to know what you're doing, supposed
yes.
to have this all handled, um, and there isn't much support for men, either for women or men. Like, it's not really, it's like, what, you don't know what you're doing, like, loser,
Yeah, yeah,
like,
yeah,
something wrong with you, like, culturally just shamed for,
yeah.
like, even, you know, admitting that you're not, like, 100% with what's going on here. So there was a fear of that, like,
Mm,
for sure. And yeah, it was challenging to actually be honest about, look, I'm really scared talking to people,
mm.
and I'm not as confident as I'm making out.
So,
And this really intimidates me, actually.
so what do you? Because you're a life coach, spiritual
Yeah.
teacher. So, how do you get through to someone and to like influence them to start looking into developing themselves,
Yeah.
and
Well,
they may have not reached out to you, sort of thing.
yeah. So I mean, I try to meet people where they're at,
Mm,
and sometimes people aren't ready, to be honest. Like they're
mm,
not always ready to take the next step. And I wouldn't, I would invite someone and I would try to encourage them to see the potential,
yeah.
and also like empathize, because I know how like it can be very intimidating to like
Mm,
ask for help and not know what's required of you,
mm,
or if you're going to be judged, or
yeah.
what what's the next step. Like that can be scary, so I can empathize with
Mm,
people and talk to them about that, because I know that's how I felt when I first started. And at the same time, I know that people have to be ready for it, because it's difficult. It's not like come for one session and everything's fixed, and
yeah.
or do this one thing. Like, of course you can make progress, but it's a big challenge, and
Yeah.
people need to be ready and willing to take that.
Yeah. There's a lot
Uh,
of recreating
yeah,
yourself.
sure.
If you're
And
not happy with the person you are,
yeah,
you're not happy with the comfort zone that you're in, you got to jump out and change.
yeah,
Something's
because
got to change, isn't it?
something like a paradigm that is really popular is like everybody wants change, but no one's willing to change. And like that, of course, is not real life. Like if you want to change something, you have to change something
Mm,
literally. And that might not be pleasant. Like it's probably
mm,
going to be very unpleasant and difficult.
yeah.
But I remember when I reached that point of when I got dumped by that girl, I was like, I'm gonna do whatever it takes. Like I don't
Yeah. Yeah.
care
Yeah. Yeah.
what, like um what's asked of me. I will
Mm.
do it. And yeah, so be it. Like,
So that
because what
pain,
I'm doing isn't working, so like let me just choose this other path. And if you tell me to like walk across hot coals,
mm,
I'm gonna do it, because I want to change. And of course I was still very nervous and scared, but I realized like, okay, this ain't working, let me try something else, even if it's not what I would choose or like
yeah,
to do. But it's like something else is required here to get the result I want.
it was that pain, that rejection,
Yeah.
that was that hard for you to deal with. You had to make a change,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'll put it down to. The pain that people are going through doesn't seem like it's enough for
Yeah.
them to make that change. Because all the
Often, yeah.
pain, all the biggest pains I've gone through have been the biggest life changing scenarios, and I've made the most change from them.
Yeah. Definitely. Like it's really common. Like a lot of my friends that are also into personal development,
Mm,
like whether they're coaches or
mm,
run events, the ones that I know that have made like real big leaps, often, not often, actually, always, they've come from like a real
yeah,
intense pain point, and then they've kind of taken it to an extreme and just been willing to like, yeah, try new stuff that was way outside of the comfort zone. Because yeah, you need to, like, that's the only way. You need to be willing to do things that are really challenging, and
yeah.
that you wouldn't want to do. Like that's like the only way forward, really. There is, there are other things to it than just that, but
Mm,
like that's a major part of it that I think yeah, we need to be honest about, because a lot of the stuff that that you see online, especially, it's like manifest this and you know dream about that. Like you can just create it by having your little dream board or doing your meditation,
mm,
without actually
doing it.
doing it. Yeah, like
Yeah,
sitting in your underpants
yeah,
at home, like dreaming of your Ferrari or the dream girl or whatever, like becoming this like amazing guy or girl. Yeah, guess what? That's not going to cut it.
mm,
It's not going to do it. Like there is another step, and that's like actually doing the thing that probably scares you the most, that
Yeah.
you really don't want to do.
Well, that's where you get the most growth in it.
Yeah,
You get the most growth outside of your comfort zone, not in
absolutely. Yeah.
everything inside your comfort zone. It's not. You've already gathered that. That's
Yeah,
already
you
that's
know how
already
to do
yours.
that.
That's already yours.
Yeah, you got that one. It's
It's
sorted.
covered.
Yeah,
But when you're jumping out, like, yeah, that's where all the jewels and gems lie.
definitely. Yeah.
Beautiful. So let's move forward to your breath work.
Yeah. Mm.
Tell me a bit about breath work and how you learned breath work and what you get from breath work.
So breath work, the practice that I use is the Wim Hof method, and it's something I've been doing for about 8 years.
Yep.
And it was when I first saw the Wim Hof like documentary on Vice, blew my mind, and he was like navigating up the Himalayas in his underpants, and I was like, what? Like, this is mad. Because a lot of the superhuman stuff that you see, this cure for this, you can achieve that, like often it's fake. And I was like, what? Hang on a sec, you can't fake this. Like, you're either doing it and you're alive, or you're dead, because you're gonna die of hypothermia otherwise. So that just really piqued my curiosity, that he was able to perform these superhuman feats, and talk about healing the body, healing the mind, improving your immune system, all of these things that like were very appealing to me. And so I started my practice from then on. And then, like, also with the cold showers at the time, because I was living in England, so doing the cold showers. And it was the breath work I found like was an accelerant to help with the cold exposure. And the benefits of these two things combined were like psychological, like
self-control,
discipline. That's a big part of it, because you're taking control of your mind, and also your willpower to like get into a cold shower. The effect of increased dopamine that you get from doing breath work, and the cold exposure, and like the physical health benefits of like your immune system improving, the muscle recovery getting quicker, and like many other aspects. Like, I was also really interested in like how you can consciously control your body, because it was something that people didn't think was possible up until very recently, and he was one of the key people that helped move science forwards, that like, oh wow, like you can change the immune response when you're injected with a virus, just through breath work. Like, that's mental. Like, people didn't believe that was humanly possible. Now I'm not like necessarily wanting to like change my immune response every day, but just to know you could do that you could connect to your body that deeply, and that the meditation was actually having a real result, not just some woo-woo thing. It was like, wow, this is actually helping people improve their health, improve their mood, and potentially save people's lives.
What's one of the biggest impacts that you've seen working with one of your clients through breath work and cold therapy?
Well, one time that really stood out for me, it was at an ice bath session that I was doing, and I was finishing up, and like one of the ladies working at the venue, she was like, oh, how long are you going to be doing this for? Is there someone calling, they want to come along? I was like, oh, I'm kind of half an hour. Anyway, she came back 20 minutes later. Are you still like, this girl really wants to come? And I was like, oh, well, kind of, we're closing up. Anyway, this woman arrived, and I could tell like she was in some distress. I didn't know what exactly, but she just seemed a bit anxious. And there was myself, a friend, Annie, who was helping out, and maybe one or two other, maybe one other person there, because it was kind of ending up. And she was like, "Oh, can I come in?" And I could see that I felt like she needed this. So
Yeah.
I was like, "Okay, like, yeah, sure, like,
Yeah.
we'll do it." And she was from Israel, and it was actually like, this was last October, or the October before, actually. And anyway, she was kind of just talking a bit about, she'd only been in Bangkok for a short space of time, and um she got into the ice bath. I gave her the guidance on how to do it correctly, or how to do it in a way you're likely to get the best result.
Mm.
She went in there, she started like having a panic attack. And so I'm like just trying to guide her, calm her down. And I don't like telling people to get out unless it's really like, so, but in my mind, I'm like, oh, should I tell her to get out? Because she's really like,
Yeah.
you know,
Flustered.
like
Yeah.
crying and really like very intense reaction. So anyway, I'm like, okay, I'll get in there. I'm like, I'm gonna get in with you, talk you through it. So got in there. She was very emotional, and anyway, like, just sat with her, held some space with her. She, after a few minutes, calmed down, and then we were just in there for about maybe 5 minutes, not talking. And then she just started to open up, and she'd she'd lost some friends in that Israel attack.
Oh, really?
And was yeah, suffering from post-traumatic stress. She was very, very like anxious, or had been very anxious, and saying, I really need this. And it was, yeah, it was really profound. It had like a really therapeutic effect on her.
Mm.
And she just shared a bit about what she'd been experiencing, and obviously the pain of what had been going on, and the fear that she had for her life. And then yeah, I mainly just listened. And that that experience, like she later shared, was really like a profound thing for her. She was able to process a lot of the emotional pain she'd been going through. And we became really good friends after that. Like, she stayed for a couple of months in Bangkok. We were very good friends. And I saw that like its ability was not just the physical, but also potentially to help people like emotionally with trauma, or like healing, or like processing wounds. Because when you get into the ice, and even through the breath work itself, can be sometimes quite overwhelming.
Certainly.
And it can sometimes like trigger, if somebody's got some issues, it can sometimes trigger that, which under the right circumstances can be a good thing, like under the wrong, not so. But in the right environment, with the right support, and if the person's willingly doing it, obviously, no, don't just push them in, but if they're willingly doing it, which she was willingly choosing to do this, then it can help like activate the emotion, and almost like bring it to the surface. And then like that's, in order to, I believe, like heal from something, you have to go through the emotion. You can't just avoid it, or like skip over it.
Under the rug,
yeah, I mean, we'd love that. I'd love to be able to, but
yeah, acceptance.
yeah, to like actually be willing to feel it. And that was a combination of the ice bath, and the just holding space for her, and yeah, being being a good human being, like coaching her, helping her, supporting her in that experience. And she had, like, my friend Annie was there as well, who's like also a very kind-hearted woman. So I think that the environment and the support really helped her in that moment. And I was like, wow, this can be used as a tool to help people with that. So that was really powerful.
Totally. So while we're on the subject of death, was it around 2 months ago? How I know David, a very great guy, life coach, marketing mentor, named AJ. Put on seminars and workshops in Bangkok.
Yeah.
Yeah. He passed away. So yeah, what I want to ask you is like, how do you look at death?
Hmm. Yeah, that's a deep question. So I won't claim to know the answers. I don't know one thing 100%, but I see it as either a transition to where we're dead, we're no more, like our consciousness does not
Mm.
exist, but we are giving back to the environment through the cycle of like rotting humans,
Yeah.
animals eating us, etc. It's like the cycle of hang on. I can start that again if you like.
Go for it.
Yeah,
Wherever you
so
want.
yeah, for me, like looking at death, I don't know the answers of what exactly is next, and but the way I see it is it's that we all have limited time here, and none of us realize how long we or know how long we have, and it's just a thing that helps to bring more meaning to what we're doing now, because
Yes.
it isn't we don't live forever on this realm of consciousness or this planet, and death is like our time is up, and it's something that makes everything we do more profound,
Mm.
more meaningful because of that, because it's like the impermanence of nature,
Yeah.
that what is here today is gone tomorrow. And that's personally how I see it.
Yeah.
I don't know what the next stage is. You know, I believe that there is a consciousness, like a collective consciousness as such, that it's almost like a river that I don't know where it starts and where it ends, but we kind of, in my opinion, like tap into it
Yeah.
at certain levels or depths along it. And then, you know, sometimes you meet people on a similar like frequency, and it's like, wow, you really connect to that person. And yeah, at different times in your life, you move up and down that level of consciousness. And death, I don't know if there's another level. I'm
Yeah.
not sure.
So like, when people only recently, when I've started doing self-development and like raising my level of consciousness, is that I like appreciate life a lot more when someone passes away from me. You with me? So instead of looking at it as like a mourning stage, just appreciating the time that you spent with them and just accepting what's happened. Yeah, total acceptance and appreciation for the fact that you're still here, the fact that you knew this person, the times that you spent with them, not holding on, not crawling on to wanting to spend more time with them and not missing them.
Yeah.
You with me? Because when you start missing someone and start wanting more, like when you break up from a relationship, you with me? There's the attachment.
Yeah.
There's the attachment. Instead of just going, right, thank you, I had the time with you, it was great. You with me? Now this is another time, and thank you for everything that you've gave me.
Yeah. I mean, and that's easier said than done as well sometimes, especially like if it's someone you're very close to. So yeah, I mean, I think with AJ, I'm very appreciative to have met him.
Yes.
And for me, it's like his example is inspiring me. Like,
he's here with us now.
Yeah.
I would not be doing this right now. Highly doubtful. Would be doing this right now if it wasn't for AJ.
Yeah.
You with me? So I'll give you the story with me and him. Like, he phoned me for about an hour and a half. We spoke, and like, he knows I want to do the same thing he was doing with the seminars and workshops and helping people develop like I am now. And he said to me, early next year, Gaz, I'll challenge you to do a seminar. And I was like, oh, I got off the phone. I was like, well, I'm not ready for that. No.
Yeah.
But soon as he passed away, something, his spirit grabbed me and says, no, boy, you are doing this now. Do you know what I mean? Stop waiting around for time stop waiting around for the perfect moment that you want to start bringing your best self out. So like going back to the example, like it just fills me with more urgency.
Yeah.
So like, what I'm trying to say is I'm looking at the positives. I'm harnessing the time that I spent with him, harnessing the fact that he's not here now for me to make the more and most out of my life.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think that's the best way to honor him, because that's what he would want from you, from me, from everyone like that. And he was a great example of like good human being, in my opinion. Like lovely dude,
absolute great,
very generous, very kind, very just such a big hearted guy. Like always trying to help other people, bring people together, and also like someone that definitely pushed himself to take action, to do new things. And
business minded. You with me?
Smart
just
bloke,
a great person to be around bloke, in general.
Good, definitely, for sure. And like when I'm feeling maybe I don't know about that, like I try to remind myself of him and what how he would approach it. So
totally. What was one of the teachings that have stuck with you from him?
So for me, I think the thing that I took from him was like I was already creating a community at the time we met, and I just saw he had been like really generous and big-hearted with the community he was creating, and that like something that I thought is like, don't do things just because you think you're going to get something out of it. And so an example of this that actually when we went for the dinner that we went to commemorate him, this really struck me, like that somebody had posted in a Facebook group, like, are there any entrepreneurs in Bangkok? And they said no one answered for 2 weeks. And then AJ reached out and like, yeah, man, like, what can I help you with? And tried to help this person settle and get their stuff together in Bangkok. And not like because he was like, oh, maybe this person can help me and become my client, or there was no ulterior motive to it. And like that that kind of level of generosity, that he was like really just want to help people, want to do good and share. Like, because I know from, I guess, like when we get nervous, we're like, oh, I have to keep this to myself, I can't. And I noticed it like in my relationship with other people in this kind of field.
Scarcity.
Like I've worked with people and sometimes they've kind of done some slightly deviant things behind my back, and that I'm like, what? Why would you do that? Like that doesn't. That's not really nice. And he was not like that at all. He was very sharing, very his abundance mindset. Like, there's enough for everyone. Let's just share
value.
Let's give value. Let's not try and do things just because I immediately think there's going to be a payoff, but like just because that's who I am.
And it feels so good to give.
Sure. And that's something I took, because you can sometimes get a bit cynical, especially when sometimes like I said, sometimes people have done some things or not been as generous or as kind as you may have liked, that you've like worked with, and you're like,
hold on to that pain.
I shouldn't be like, I shouldn't be this. And then when I see him, he's just like very successful guy, not naive, but very just humble,
very
and
humble.
And also like just sharing, not like coming from an abundance mindset, not like, oh, I need to take all the credit, I need to like hold on to this and I can't share with anyone.
Hold back some of your secrets.
Exactly. Or I need to like,
don't tell them everything.
Don't give the, or like take the credit for this. And that was not what he was like at all.
Beautiful. AJ, thank you for everything that you've done. for us.
Yes.
Much love.
Yeah.
We love you. So yeah, we wouldn't be a no.
Yeah.
We
So
wouldn't
he
be a
lives
no.
on, man.
He does live on. Explain to me what spirituality is to you.
You know, actually what we've just been talking about, like the effect that our, like, through our behavior, through the way that we carry ourselves on in our life, that
Mm.
it can affect beyond beyond time and space, like literally as AJ's done. Like that for me is like spirituality, because he's that, using that example, because of the way that he strove to be kind, to be that person, it can affect others. And it, you know, literally he's not here anymore, but it's still
His
having
spirit is
still
still with us.
resonating. Yeah.
Yes.
And that, like, for me is spirituality, like how your beliefs, your actions, and your way of being can really like resonate out, and, you know, hopefully like affect your life for the better, and also the people that you come in contact with beyond, when I say beyond time and space, but beyond when you're there, like, so afterwards, like a ripple in a pond that just spreads out. And that for me is like spirituality, because it's like planting these seeds that you don't know where they're going to sprout, or if they're going to sprout, or when they're going to sprout. But if you just show up in a certain way, like carry yourself in life like that, it can really have this huge like impact.
Totally. How do you recommend, or how do you improve your level of spirituality?
So, I mean, personally, I also have a coach, so I get coached regularly, and I like that. That's almost, I mean, that's very helpful, because to have someone to talk to share very honestly, vulnerably, and, you know, help improve on those things, that personally is a massive game changer for me.
Yes.
To do, or rather to like create community events that where I feel it's of course I'm getting something from it, but I feel like they're of genuine service to other people, that, like, to do work that I believe is giving back and that's helping people. I don't want to sound too pompous, because of course I'm getting something for it too, but like that is having a positive effect.
Yes.
That is helpful for my personal like spiritual practice, because I feel like, well, yeah, I am having a positive impact in the world. And also just to try to conduct myself like that, or in a positive, when I say positive, in a decent way, like all of the time. Like one thing that I learned from actually when I went on this journey of like learning to be more confident in social situations, is not like something you just turn on. Like it's just, it's who you are, and you want to be that as much of the time as you can. Like, of course you might be able to turn it up and down, but what I mean by that is, like, you know, if I'm at the checkout, I'll, you know, be cool with the person that's serving me. Or like today I was on the bus to Pattaya, and there was a family from Indonesia. This old guy sat next to me, and they like, oh, can we take a photo with you? And, you know, as a Western person, that might seem a little bit weird, because we literally hadn't spoken. But
Really?
no, like not said a word. But I'm like, I can see, you know, they're trying to connect in some way.
Yes.
And so, yeah, just, yeah, sure, like, let's have a photo. We have a little chat, and just being kind in day-to-day, like everyday situations, is important. And also being proactive, because that's again, that's something that I got from the self-development in social confidence. Like, you know, if I see someone that I think I'm maybe you can help like through a kind comment, for a funny comment,
Totally.
or like maybe, oh, they need a hand with that, potentially need a hand with that bag. Like, don't be like, oh, should I just do the
Yes.
thing and then find out. And because like just a simple comment, like you can make someone's day, just by being, you know, a little joke, a little like acknowledgement, if someone's having a bad day maybe, or just helping them out with something.
Yeah.
These things I honestly believe can make a big impact. It's not just like the, you know, we did an ice bath after they came from Israel. Like that's a more big thing, but it's like the small everyday stuff that I think we can practice that has an impact.
Giving
Like,
out more positive energy.
exactly, yeah, like exactly, and trying to be that, like in, you know, even in situations that is more challenging, like, oh, maybe at home and you get upset about something with your parents or something, like try to be that then, like don't, not just when you're lights camera action, like, but be it when nobody's watching, be it when it's, you're not going to get anything from it, like then that becomes who you are.
Totally. So that was on the side of positive energy,
Yeah,
but then there's also another side of when lower vibrational energy is coming towards you, to be aware of it and not mimic it.
sure, yeah,
Are
absolutely,
you with me?
yeah,
So have you heard of the pain body?
yes,
Yeah, Eckhart Tolle?
yes.
Yes. So I've explained a few times on my podcast what pain body is. Can you explain a little bit more and your view on pain body?
Okay, so I'm not an expert on this, just to put it out there, but from my understanding, it's like when someone is in pain, there's like a body of pain inside of
Yeah.
them, and it can have, just as we were talking, the positive can spread out.
Yeah.
It can also have a magnetic quality. My a mentor of mine calls it like trigger tennis,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
person is triggered and they'll like have this laser focus to do or say something that is
Yes.
designed to cause you the maximum pain, and then you get triggered, and then you're playing this trigger tennis.
You're
Yeah,
feeding the pain body. Yeah.
and it's incrementally growing, and yeah, that's something that I have experienced before. And I remember like when I used to be married,
Oh, really?
yeah, and that was um something that I remember, like when, you know, things weren't going well
Mm.
and we would have arguments, and I remember like in those times it's very challenging because, you know, m- when it's someone you love and they say something like really personal to hurt you,
Sharp.
yeah, it hurts and you want to retaliate.
Yeah.
And I remember like having to just be like, look, winning an argument is less important,
Mm.
because um if you win an argument and but you've become an arsehole and you're like
Mm.
not happy with who you are, then that's not really winning the
There's no
argument.
winner.
There's no winner. So like in those kind of situations, to just be able to like feel the emotion and not just react.
Yeah.
I mean, in those kind of situations, when it's that intense, like
Mm.
sometimes you just have to walk away from the situation or not saying
Totally.
anything, because if it's like that much, it's like you don't have access to much else. So
Mm.
like either just not saying anything or removing yourself, if appropriate, is probably the best course of action.
Yeah.
That sometimes that's not always possible and not necessarily always appropriate, but for a lot of the times I'd say yeah. But now like in most situations I try not to take things personally, because I won't pretend that I never like get into it, but when I see someone overreacting, I'm like, this isn't really about me, like there's something going on
Yeah.
here, and that's not about me, and so it's like not worth my time
Effort.
to get involved in this.
Yeah. I'll share a story with you from Eckhart Tolle's book. He says a couple are so aware of their pain bodies.
Mm,
Yeah. When the one half of the couple triggers the other half can simply say to the other half, you've just triggered my pain body.
Yeah.
And not bite back, not attack.
Mm.
And then they both can talk civilly like
Yeah.
grown-up adults and address the situation.
Yeah. I mean, that would be,
That's the goal.
that's the goal. And like, if I met someone that was like, would love to, because I think the thing was, and like, this is not trying to, to meet someone that would be willing to do that, because you need to both be on the path.
Yes.
And and that wasn't the case in my
How
my
long was you
marriage.
with her, for out of interest?
We were together for 5 years,
Okay,
but we were separated for 2 of those.
got you. What is consciousness to you?
Wow. When do we get to the difficult questions? Yeah. Consciousness to me is being present and
Yeah.
aware and able to choose how I'm acting in the moment. And that's a rare thing. I think it's a very rare thing, because a lot of us, and I will include myself, we're just going through patterns.
Yes.
And it's when you catch yourself, or when you're fully present and aware with what you're doing, it's it can feel amazing. It can also be kind of shocking, because being present and aware and in the moment, and not in the head, or not just going through a pattern of behavior. And it's something that I think there's multiple entry points to, but being willing to, I think a very easy one is being willing to be very honest about like what you're doing, because one of the I guess an entry point to being unconscious is like patterned behavior. And of course it's like, from a evolutionary point of view, it makes sense. We want to save energy, so we just go unconscious. We have these unconscious patterns that could be good. Like, you can train yourself, do your teeth. Like, I don't want to have to consciously think about that. It's an energy saving device. It helps me have clean teeth.
Yeah.
And great. But there's a lot of other ones that are not so helpful, or that are not perhaps leading for my best interest or intention.
Totally.
And when we get an opportunity to wake up from that, that's an entry point potentially to being more conscious.
Totally.
And often they're or often they can be in challenging times, because we realize, oh, I was going to do this, but actually I said I want that, like, and that's like an entry point to consciousness right there. If I could try and think of an example of this, was like, for example, when I would be in a fight with my ex-wife, like, she would say something and I would come back with a sarcastic remark. And I'm pretty good at sarcastic remarks. I'm quite funny, in fact. Like, so I have the banter, like, and what I realized was, like, this is a pattern of behavior, an unhealthy one. Like, sometimes it's necessary, but in that context, it wasn't.
It was feeding her pain body.
Yeah, it was aggravating the situation.
Yeah.
And it felt very satisfying, well, for about a fraction of a second, till it just amped the ante.
Yeah.
And like, just being able to catch that, like, split second before, and then do something different. And that's being conscious.
Projecting into the future and putting more consideration in the words that you're about to say.
Yeah. And like, just, I mean, in that time, like, I would just have to not do any, I just, it was beyond me to like say more considerate words. I just had to like keep stum, like, not say anything. Because it was a baby step to like trying to change a deeply ingrained pattern. I mean, there are many of those kind of unconscious moments that we have multiple times each day, that I think, for me, it's like, you don't want to be living like a robot, like
Yeah.
just totally unconscious, going through your programming
Mm.
of shit that you didn't even choose, that was probably related to your childhood
Yeah.
or the environment you grew up in, or who knows where, but not actually your conscious choice. It's like you're a robot. You're not actually, you're saying one thing, I don't want to argue with my wife. Well, guess what? You're doing stuff that increases that. So you're out of alignment with what you consciously say.
Mm.
Your actions and behaviors don't match. And being able to catch those things, again, it's an ego thing as well, because it's like, oh, okay, I'm saying this, but I'm doing that. It doesn't feel good. It feels actually really bad, because it's like you have to admit that you're not who you think you are.
Mm.
And those things are quite challenging. And then choosing to do maybe just pause, like that's probably the first step, because
Yes.
choosing to do the next best thing is probably too much of a leap for most people. So just choosing to just pause and be with the feeling of like pain, because it's pain,
Yes.
like usually pain or discomfort, anxiety, whatever it is, but not pleasant. Just choosing to be with that instead of just project it.
Looking at it, looking at the scenario, and the more
Yeah.
time you can put in between a trigger, the higher up of like you'll be like a bird's eye view, and the lighter the pain will be. It's a little bit like saying getting hit. Initially, it's a reaction, but say if you get hit just like a trigger, the more time you let it sink in, you let it wash through you.
Yeah, and it's very challenging, and like just being present to the feeling and
Yes.
the thing that, because I think one of the reasons you want to, or like I want to go into a pattern is because we're not comfortable feeling the pain of that, whatever it is. So we just go unconscious and we do the thing, do the pattern, do the bad behavior. Whereas if you're present, it's like, oh, this is very uncomfortable. That's why I'm doing the thing, to avoid it or to try and get rid of it, escape it. Yeah. So being present with the thing that we don't like, which is the pain body in the example that you just gave, or the uncomfortable emotion, and feel through it and not just react.
What really helps me is welcoming it in and asking yourself, what is this here to help you?
Yeah.
What can you learn from this?
Yeah.
Okay, so last few questions before we get into a little bit of breath work from David and a short meditation from me.
Yeah.
Okay, so give me your top 5 self-development exercises.
Right.
From the top, number 1.
Okay, wow.
Most impactful.
So, one thing that has really been a game changer for me is the solar ecstatic dance.
Oh, okay.
That for me is huge, and that is are you familiar with that at all?
Not at all.
Okay, cool, man.
I look forward to doing it with you.
We should do it then. Yeah, so it's like a self-expression workshop. Like the way that I conceive it is like dance and movement is a form of expression. I mean, I'm not the first person to come up with this, but it's a form of expression.
My business partner, actually, Claire, she's working with a company called Movement is Medicine in the UK.
Cool.
And it's a jungle drum and bass.
Nice.
But it's like spiritual, no drink, no drugs, holistic approach to
wicked.
healing and just having a good time.
Exactly. Yeah. Like so using dance and movement
and music
and like as a gateway to be more expressive, to also to work through challenging emotions, not just happy ones, but like maybe anger or sadness or pain as well, which is something that because I'd seen people doing the like ecstatic dance, but it was always like happy light music, not dark, moody, aggressive, which is actually what I kind of was drawn towards when I was younger. I think because I did need an outlet for those emotions, and that music was really therapeutic. So I'm like, want to bring both of those elements into it. And also it's great because it helps us helps me, helps other people, like get over taking ourselves too seriously. Like the fear of being judged or
Yeah.
getting it wrong. Like dance actually can be very triggering for a lot of people because especially men actually, like they're very self-conscious. Do I look stupid?
Yeah.
Does this look too feminine? Whatever, like a lot can come up. But like actually if you really don't care, then what's the problem? So it's a great way to find out very quickly how self-conscious or not you are, and to use it as a tool to help be more confident, being expressive, and get over that fear of being judged.
Totally.
And yeah, so that's a huge one for me.
Okay, next 4.
Bloody hell. The ice bath.
Ice bath,
Yeah,
yes.
ice bath has been a massive game changer.
Totally, I agree. I'm
Love
totally
it.
with you on that one. Yeah.
For the reasons I've shared, like it's very powerful for like just helping reduce inflammation, improve the way like physically that I feel. From mentally, it's like a meditation for me when I do the ice bath, like just become very present and connect to the moment, and fully willing to feel difficult feelings, because it's like people are like, oh, it feels like painful, it feels uncomfortable. I'm like, yeah, it does. Like, and I'm trying to be willing to be okay with that is not easy.
Totally. Massive level, like feeling of accomplishment.
Yeah.
So like I compare it to, like, say if I've done a good stint in the ice bath, of getting out the club at like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
Absolutely off your face, and like everything is just absolute, like you're in another planet basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's what like my euphoria and
Do you
know what I mean? Yeah, I've just gone straight through the roof. That's how and like mushrooms as well. A bit like mushrooms.
Yeah,
like everything's just like 4K.
I was working with it. Well, a guy came to the event yesterday. First time he'd ever tried this, and he was like, oh wow. We did the ice bath. Initially he was like, I can't do it. Did it only for a relatively short space of time, but for a first time that was still really good. He came out and he was like, the colors seem brighter.
Yeah,
everything's more vivid.
Yeah,
and it does have that effect, and it can increase your dopamine by up to 250%. And that just lasts like the whole day,
24 hours.
just
and
feel
there's
like
no come down.
yeah, exactly. It's not like, oh god, I feel awful on Monday. It's healthy, and it's a much longer sustainable high, and it's like self-generated as well. It's not because you took some external thing.
So what's going through my mind now is like the being more attracted to things like that give you pain. Do you know what I mean? And like welcoming them because they make you stronger. Just like when you go to the gym, you putting your body through pain, put your mind through painful scenarios to strengthen your mind.
Yeah, like as long as it's not self-harm, but like in a way that is like actually legit beneficial.
Yes, totally.
Yeah.
Number 3,
it would be diet.
Beautiful.
Yeah, I think taking care of what we eat is so important. And I was very lucky, like growing up, my parents, because of their background, were very good in like saying, we don't want you to be eating all these kind of crappy sweets and junk food. And I really took that on board, and it always to me just seems so obvious. Like if you have a car that is petrol, you don't put diesel in it because you're going to break the engine.
Okay, so that's been with you all your life, the consciousness of putting things that are good for you.
Yeah, like if you've got a petrol car, don't put diesel in it, even if it's like, this is the best diesel in the world. Oh, it's like we did this cool advertisement with Brad Pitt and he's selling this diesel, and it will make you look, everyone will think you're really popular if you use a diesel. It's like, no, it's going to break the engine. And for me, like food, it's like of course there's food that tastes good and bad for sure, but if it's going to kill you, like break your engine, like hurt your body, like what? Like don't, just because everybody else is doing it doesn't mean that you should.
How do you advise people to like improve their consciousness of what they put in their body?
So I think, yeah, having some basic level of nutritional knowledge is
Yeah,
important. You don't need to be an expert, but yeah, just get the basics. Like whole food is good,
yeah,
processed food's not so good.
yeah.
Having too much sugar is not good. So yeah, have a basic understanding of it. But I think also just realize, like the example I gave, most people, look after their car better than their body.
Totally. Yeah,
They wouldn't be like, oh, okay, oh, we've only got diesel today, sir. Is that okay if you put? No, it's not okay.
yeah,
Like, oh, like we can put this paint job on, but it's gonna like come off in a
yeah.
month and cost you like this much in
So
bill. What? Like, no, I'm not acceptable. That not okay. Like, but when it comes to our own health, not everyone, but a lot of people seem to just kick the can down the road. Oh, it never happened to me.
blase.
Oh yeah, well, it's you've got to enjoy life. Like, just like it's no big deal. But
Mm,
like, I think one thing that that actually was I haven't really spoken about, but was very impactful in my life. I had tinnitus when I was in my early 20s,
okay,
and I don't know if it's like when you get the ringing in the ears
okay,
all of the time, and at the time the doctors were like, "Oh, you might lose your hearing in an ear because actually through clubbing a lot, like through noise
okay.
exposure." Fortunately, that didn't happen, but my yeah, it was really quite serious for about 9 months. And what it really woke me up to was like, oh my God, I'm so lucky. I can see, I can hear, I can walk, I can do all of these things that I'm just taking for granted. But
Mm.
like, if someone's like, you might go deaf, then all of a sudden that was like,
Ah, yeah.
oh my
Shock
God,
the pain
shock.
to the
Yeah,
system.
it was a shock.
Yes.
And I realized, wow, like I'm so lucky to have
Mm,
like a body that functions correctly,
yeah.
um, that I can see, walk, talk, like go to the gym, all of these things that millions of people can't.
Mm,
And there's so much pain in the world. Like I don't want to create more of it through abusing my body
mm,
and, you know, creating bad health for myself, causing problems for people around
mm.
me. So I just it really brought home to me how lucky I was,
To
or
appreciate
am,
your
to
senses.
appreciate my
Yeah.
health, and like to abuse it through substances or food or
Mm.
whatever. Like just was like, this is crazy because like I've just won the lottery of like being healthy
Life.
here,
Yeah.
and there are people that would give anything to have that.
Mm.
And then you know when you're just I consider it like abuse, like when
Oh,
people are
totally.
abusing themselves
Totally.
through
It's
just eating shit food.
abuse and self-sabotage.
Yeah, and I'm not like saying that in a judgmental way because
No.
I'm not suggesting that people are doing that consciously
Yeah.
or necessarily. That I don't mean that's a bad person,
Yeah.
but
Yeah.
it does upset me because food is like it's either like a medicine or a poison.
Yeah.
And when people are just poisoning themselves, and the society is encouraging it and
Mm.
making it normal, like this is normal, like this is what you
Mm.
should be, you know, who the hell came up with like give children like ultra processed crappy sweets, like, and then so you get these kids hooked on these candies, and then about 12, 13, then you start to like give them body images that are virtually unobtainable, and now they're like hooked on shit food but trying to look like this. And then it's just like, what, like this
Mm.
is mental, why are we doing this to people?
Mm.
And don't just go along with what the crowd is doing.
Yes.
So
Yes.
yeah, food, that was a very long
Yeah. So
answer.
I'll put it down to like lack of care, lack of love for yourself.
Yeah, and also maybe lack of awareness because sometimes
Yeah.
people are not
Totally.
aware. Yeah,
Totally. Just robotic with. Yeah.
yeah, what everyone else is doing.
Yeah. Okay. Two more.
Two more. Whew, so wow, there's a lot of things I could say. I think exercise
Mm.
is a really big one. I've
Mm.
been like something I love doing from a very young
Mm.
age, and it's also like an opportunity just to be present to something, whatever's
Yes.
going on, like just be present to that and connect to my body. And that's something no one can take from you, your body, like your ability to improve your health through
Totally.
exercise. I mean, I think that's why people in prison, they do a lot of exercise, because it's like you can take everything from someone, but they still have that ability to choose to respect their body.
Yeah.
So exercise, and also it is therapeutic in that, like, it helps when you're angry or upset, like to work through those
Totally.
emotion. It creates like dopamine, endorphins, all of these positive chemicals that help you feel good. And it, yeah, for many other reasons, I think
The
it's
feeling
an
you
accomplishment as
get
well. Yeah.
exactly when you leave the gym and you do something positive for yourself,
Mm.
feeling of accomplishment. Yeah.
Yeah, there's many, many, many reasons.
Okay, one more.
Wow. Oh man, this is a difficult one. So the question again was,
The question is, give me 5 of your most valuable self-development exercises.
yeah. So I think the next one is, so I was going to say breathwork, but now I'm like thinking, I think community.
Okay.
I was going to
Yeah.
say community is so important,
Mm,
because even if you've got all of these things, if you don't have
yes.
community, like that's so important.
Yeah.
Having a group of people around you that you feel connected to.
Because it can get lonely just going inside and just
Sure.
working on yourself.
Yeah.
I totally
So
get
like
where
having
you're
good
coming
people
from.
around you, having
Mm,
being part of a group that is doing good things, positive things.
influential in a positive
Yeah,
way.
yeah, influential and a positive, encouraging and supportive, and also challenging. That all of these things is really important, because we're tribal beings. We're not
Yeah.
meant to just be alone. Maybe some of us prefer that some of the time, but I honestly think we developed as pack animals,
Yeah.
and like having human connection is so important. And
Totally.
like we can't do it all alone. We need, like, yeah, we can't do it. Like
Mm.
having people around you, and being able to contribute and help other people as well, not just take, but like there's a whole uh yeah, being in a community is really important.
Service and
Yeah,
share
share,
your
being of
value,
service.
give your value to
Yeah,
the people
exactly.
around
Like
you.
I recently took a yoga class, and one thing that really stood out for me, the lady leading it said, like, what's your intention for the day? And then she said, and what do you want to give the day? And I really like that, because often spirituality and self-help is about, what do I want? What can I manifest? What can I get? But she was like, actually, what do you want to give? Like, what do you want to share? And that is really important, because if you're just taking, not sharing, not being of service, as you said, it just feels kind of meaningless. So being a community where you can share, you can support, you can contribute is really
Certainly.
important. Yeah.
Passing on a piece
Important.
of you.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you for that, David. You come at it from a different angle than I was expecting.
Yeah.
That was my favorite question I asked.
Oh,
So
wow.
I want to implement that in everyone
Cool.
moving forward. So thank you. Let's now move on to breathwork.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, few minutes, however you want to run it.
Okay. I'm just going to,
3 to 5 minutes would be ideal.
right. So we're going to do a Wim Hof breath method, a practice, and we're going to do 30 breaths.
Yeah.
And the reason I think this is really powerful, really love it, is that it's very straightforward. It's something that is anybody can do at home. If you just a brief caveat, if you're pregnant or you have a heart condition, then I wouldn't recommend this. But other than that, then let's go for it. The practice itself is, we're going to be breathing in through the mouth fully into the stomach, expanding the ribs, and then exhaling around 60%. And this will increase the oxygenation of the blood. And after the 30th breath, we will then hold the breath for as long as possible. And then when we need to breathe in fully and squeeze the bum and bring attention to the forehead by looking up. This will often feel like a rush of energy because you've depleted your body of oxygen through the breath hold, and now you've increased it. And it's like a mini altitude training. You know, when you do, if you're an athlete, people do altitude training. It's called hypoxia, where we reduce the alcohol level, not the alcohol, hopefully no alcohol yet, reduce the oxygen level so that your body is then producing certain chemicals so that when you then give it back to a normal level of oxygen, it's able to function at a much higher rate because of this. And that's why athletes will go train in Bolivia or Himalayas or somewhere like that. This is something you can do at home, and it's training your body. It's also helping your mind be in that like sometimes uncomfortable zone and go a little step beyond that.
Beautiful. Okay.
So the practice is, I will just demonstrate it, and then we get into it. So it will look something like this. So we're breathing into the belly, bring it up to the chest, up to the head, and then exhale around 60%. And then no gap between an inhalation and an exhalation. Are you with that?
I'm with you.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do 30 breaths. I will count the first few, and then I'll talk, and then I'll count down the last few as well. Okay. So if you can maybe bring a hand to the stomach just so that you'll know you're breathing in there.
Okay.
Let's take a nice deep breath, fully in and exhale. Fully in, fully in. Continue to breathe in fully into the belly, up to the chest, and breathing in deeply. Breathing in oxygen all the way in, up to the chest, and exhale. Following the rhythm. Closing your eyes if that helps. Filling the body with life-giving oxygen, every cell, every atom. In through the mouth. Fully in and exhale. Into the belly, out to the chest, and exhale. Into the belly, up to the chest, and exhale. And we're going to do 10 more breaths. Continue to breathe in fully for 10, 9, 8, 7, fully in, all the way in, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, fully in for 1. Final breath, fully in and fully out. Hold the breath. Holding the breath. Feeling the oxygen roaming through the body. Feeling that tingling sensation. Relaxing your body. Relaxing your mind. And continue to hold the breath. Feeling that energy of waves moving through you. Every cell, every atom vibrating. Just being present to that. Knowing you have more oxygen now than when you began. That your body can store more oxygen than you think. And continue to hold the breath. Connecting deeply to your own body. If the mind's telling you to breathe, just try to go that little bit further. When you need to breathe in fully, squeeze the bum, bring attention up to the forehead, look up and hold for 30 more seconds. Feel the energy in the head, feel that vibration, feel that wave of movement through the body, and continue to hold for 30 more seconds. That's right. Holding now and then letting go. And then just resuming the normal breath, slowly breathing in, slowly exhaling, and feeling more energized, awake, and alert. And how you
Beautiful.
feeling?
I was feeling very lightheaded throughout,
Yeah.
but yeah, great, energized,
Yeah, I was just
alive, and kicking.
alive. Yeah, I was feeling
Yes.
that. I was feeling that energy just through the through breaths that I took.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's powerful.
I really put the effort in then.
Yeah,
Beautiful. Thank you, David.
my pleasure.
Beautiful. Okay, so now let's move on to our meditation. How do you normally meditate, David?
So at home, I sometimes listen to guided
Mm,
meditations. Some that I've done myself that I listen to,
yes.
or
Okay.
Sam Harris is someone I listen to his stuff. Some different meditation practices, but it's or if I don't have that, it's like a guided relaxation that I do, or just being aware of my thinking.
Mm,
But usually, I find it good to like consciously relax certain parts of the body if I'm
mm,
because I find there's a transition period to get into that headspace.
mm. Okay, so get comfortable with your surroundings. Feel the energy inside of you. Feel the aliveness. Appreciate the fact that you woke up today. Appreciate the fact that you're here right now, listening to me. Relax your body, relax your mind, and in 3 deep breaths, in through your nose and out through your mouth. If it's good with you, close your eyes. If not, no stress. Continue watching me. Visualize yourself inhaling all of the higher vibrations within you and exhaling all of the lower vibrations. Really appreciate the air you're breathing. Give thanks and love to it. Give yourself credit for taking this time out of your day to focus on your self development here with me. Even if it's a small amount of interest, you're here. So give yourself credit. Feel the energy in your hands. Feel the aliveness. Give thanks to it. Feel the love inside your heart. Give thanks to it. Feel the level of awareness and consciousness inside your mind and give thanks to it. Feel the level of energy inside your feet. Give thanks and appreciation to it. moving forward to the main part of the practice, which will revolve around awareness and welcoming in any emotions you go through. Visualize and paint a picture of yourself looking out of a beautiful window. While you're looking out this window, birds are flying by, and every bird is a different emotion, from frustration, self-doubt, fear. And all you have to do is watch the birds fly along. Welcome them, appreciate them, and be the witness of them flying by. Consider one emotion that really holds you back from living your best life, whether it's fear, self-doubt, limiting beliefs, procrastination. Welcome it, let it fly by. Now visualize a more positive set of emotions flying by. Courage, appreciation, urgency, gratitude. Welcome them. Give thanks to them and appreciation. Pour love on them. And be fully aware of them. Now, simply recap from the start of the practice before we close our eyes to where we are now. And take with you anything that really resonated with you along through your day, through your week, and through your future. Coming to the end of the practice now, give yourself credit for holding your concentration and taking part in the meditation along with watching this podcast. Take 3 deep breaths in through your nose. Again, inhale all of the high vibrations and exhale all of the low vibrations. And to finish off with, bring your hands over your eyes. And in your own time, blink your eyes open to reveal the beautiful world we live in. Lovely. How was that for you, David? And what are some of the things that resonated?
Yeah, that was really beautiful. Thank you.
Thank you. My absolute pleasure.
Yeah, the things that, or the thing that stood out was the visualization of the different birds and the different emotions and welcoming even the really challenging and
Yeah,
difficult ones. That that was very powerful.
beautiful. Glad it resonated. Appreciate it. So I've just got a couple more questions rolling around in my head.
Mm.
Just to finish off with, who are some of your heroes?
Oh wow. Well, my dad, I think,
Beautiful.
yeah, he's someone I look up to, especially when I was younger, growing up, um, because he was, like I said, he was just very great guy to be around. He would like always raise the
Oh,
vibration. Like if you went in a room, um, he just had an effect on making people feel good,
brilliant.
and he's a very funny guy as well.
Yeah.
So he's someone I really look up to, and that quality of his to just connect with people
Mm.
from all walks of life and bring up their energy like in a positive way is something that I really admire.
One of the statements that Grant Cardone has left me with
Mm,
is when you walk into the room, aim to be the brightest person in the room.
mm,
Now, that doesn't mean like the smartest or the most knowledgeable. When he says brightest, like how
mm.
you've just perfectly explained
Yeah,
it, just aim to raise the energy, raise the vibrations,
yeah,
basically.
absolutely. Yeah, and that like he really encapsulates that. So he's definitely a hero of mine.
Beautiful,
Yeah.
beautiful, David. Okay, is there anything else you'd like to finish off with? Something's just sprung into my mind regarding the event that we're going to be planning
Yes.
over the next couple of months. That I'm very excited,
Yeah.
and it's in remembrance of AJ that I spoke about
Yeah.
at the start of the podcast. It's going to revolve around what I do: self development, attacking your fears.
Mm.
I've got to. It's got to be revolving around that, because it is one of my fears, sort of thing, to get
Yeah.
up and
Do it.
share everything
Yeah.
with the world. Do you know what I mean? So yeah, I look forward to doing it. We're gonna plan to do it at the Dip.
Yeah. Yeah. We can speak to them to get that
Yep,
booked in. Yeah,
yep,
sure.
yep.
Um, yeah. Looking forward to that as well.
Beautiful. Is there anything you'd like to share about that?
Yeah, I mean it's a work in progress, but I'm really excited to work
Yes.
with you.
Yeah.
And I know you mentioned a few other people maybe
Yeah.
that come in on board. And to I what I realize it's like really important, like we said, to have a community of people to be around and the right sort of encouragement, the right level of challenge,
Yes.
um, that can help like uplift and get people to a position where they're able to improve their life.
Totally.
And mix in like speaking, group work, physical stuff such as like the cold plunge,
Yeah.
sauna, those kind of activities with coaching
Mm,
and the life advice, etc. I think it can be a really powerful combination of things.
certainly. Certainly. I look forward to making
Yeah,
it happen, David.
definitely.
Okay. Is there anything else you'd like to share before we get off?
So yeah, if people were like connect with what I'm saying, then if you want to meet me, speak to me, follow me. Like my social media is Solar Life
Yes.
Official on Instagram. Yeah, connect me there and send me a message if you're interested in any of the things that we spoke about. That would be perfect. And if you're in Bangkok, then yeah, definitely connect because I'm holding about 3-4 events a week, um, mainly at Dip on
Dip.
Seninari.
Yep. Best sauna in Thailand.
Yep. And also doing the solar ecstatic dance
Yes.
and also like group coaching as well. So if you're interested in any of those things, please come along. And it's these events, like I said, they're community events, so that you get a real great group of people that come along, and it's really great to like connect with and like be able to encourage and inspire one another.
Certainly. It's been an absolute pleasure, David.
Yes.
Thank you for coming.
Cheers, man. Thank you.
Much love. Love. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace out.